Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free German ebook before it's gone.
Welcome to Can Do German by GermanPod101.com.
Hallo zusammen, ich bin Katrin Preußler. Hi everyone, I'm Katrin Preußler. In this lesson, you learn how to introduce yourself in German.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Germany. Mark is having a casual conversation with Marvin Moss, a passenger sitting next to him. After a short exchange, Marvin introduces himself. I'm Marvin, and you?
Ich bin Marvin. Und du?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Mark's response. Note, the speakers in this conversation use informal German. Ready?
Ich bin Marvin. Und du?
Ich heiße Mark.
Once more with the English translation.
Ich bin Marvin. Und du?
I'm Marvin, and you?
Ich heiße Mark.
My name is Mark.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Marvin introduces himself? I'm Marvin, and you?
Ich bin Marvin. Und du?
First is
Ich.
I.
Ich.
Next is
Bin.
am, as in I am.
Bin.
Is from the verb
Sein.
meaning to be.
Sein.
Next is the name
Marvin.
Marvin. Together it's
Ich bin Marvin.
I am Marvin or I'm Marvin.
Ich bin Marvin.
Note, when introducing himself, Marvin uses only his given name. In Germany, this is considered an offer to use informal language. Next is
Und du?
meaning and you. First is
Und.
and. Next is
Du.
you when using informal German.
Du.
Together it's
Und du?
and you.
Und du?
Altogether it's
Ich bin Marvin. Und du?
I'm Marvin, and you?
Ich bin Marvin. Und du?
Now, let's take a closer look at Mark's response.
Do you remember how Mark says, My name is Mark?
Ich heiße Mark.
First is
Ich.
I. Next is
Heiße.
am called, as in I'm called.
Heiße.
Is from the verb
Heißen.
to be called.
Heißen.
Together it's
Ich heiße.
literally meaning I am called, but it translates as my name is.
Ich heiße.
After this is the name
Mark.
Mark. Altogether it's
Ich heiße Mark.
my name is Mark.
Ich heiße Mark.
Note, Mark replies with his given name, giving Marvin a signal that he agrees to use informal language. Altogether it's
Ich heiße Mark.
my name is Mark.
Ich heiße Mark.
The pattern is,
Ich heiße Name.
my name is name.
Ich heiße Name.
To use this pattern, simply replace the name placeholder with your name. Note, use this pattern with your given name or your given name and surname. Imagine you're Karen Lee. In German,
Karen. Karen. Karen.
say, my name is Karen. Ready?
Ich heiße Karen.
My name is Karen.
Ich heiße Karen.
In German, there are both informal and formal ways of speaking. What you use depends on whom you're speaking with. Formal language is called
Siezen.
because you use the formal word for you, which is.
Sie.
This is usually used with strangers, or with people who are more senior than yourself. It's also common in business settings. Informal language is called
Duzen.
because you use the informal word for you, which is.
Du.
According to German etiquette, the older person should be the one to initiate the switch to informal language. In our example, Marvin and Mark are similar in age, so they use informal language to start. During an exchange of self-introductions, you may hear
Freut mich.
a short way to say, nice to meet you,
Freut mich.
is from the expression,
Es freut mich, Sie kennenzulernen.
literally meaning, it pleases me to become acquainted with you, but translates as, nice to meet you. Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
Ich bin Marvin. Ich bin Marvin.
Ich heiße Mark. Ich heiße Mark.
Hallo. Ich heiße Karen. Hallo. Ich heiße Karen.
Freut mich. Ich bin Katrin. Freut mich. Ich bin Katrin.
Mein Name ist Finja Fischer. Mein Name ist Finja Fischer.
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
She says,
Mein Name ist Finja Fischer.
my name is Finja Fischer.
Mein Name ist Finja Fischer.
This pattern uses the phrase,
Mein Name ist.
which literally means, my name is.
Mein Name ist.
First is,
Mein.
my.
Mein. Mein.
After this is,
Name.
name.
Name. Name.
Next is,
Ist.
is, as in, my name is.
Ist. Ist.
Note,
Ist.
is from the verb,
Sein.
to be.
Sein.
Next is the name,
Finja Fischer.
Finja Fischer.
Finja Fischer. Finja Fischer.
Altogether,
Mein Name ist Finja Fischer.
my name is Finja Fischer.
Mein Name ist Finja Fischer.
The pattern is,
Mein Name ist Name.
my name is name. This pattern can be used with either a given name, surname, or full name. You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Welcome to Can Do German by GermanPod101.com.
Hallo zusammen, ich bin Katrin Preußler. Hi everyone, I'm Katrin Preußler. In this lesson, you'll learn how to tell someone where you're from in German.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Germany. Marvin Maas, a passenger sitting next to him, asks, "Where are you from?"
Woher kommst du?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Mark's response. Note, the speakers in this conversation use informal German. Ready?
Woher kommst du?
Ich komme aus New York.
Once more with the English translation.
Woher kommst du?
Where are you from?
Ich komme aus New York.
I'm from New York.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Marvin Maas asks, "Where are you from?"
Woher kommst du?
First is
Woher?
meaning where from.
Woher? Woher?
Next is
Kommst.
come, as in you come from.
Kommst. Kommst. Kommst.
Is from the verb
Kommen.
meaning to come, as in to come from, in this context.
Kommen.
Last is
Du.
you.
Du. Du.
Note, in German,
Du.
is used when addressing someone in a casual conversation. Altogether,
Woher kommst du?
literally, where from come you? But it translates as, where are you from?
Woher kommst du?
Remember this question. You'll hear it again later in this lesson.
Now, let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark Lee says, "I am from New York"?
Ich komme aus New York.
First is
Ich.
I.
Ich. Ich.
Next is
Komme.
come, as in I come from.
Komme. Komme. Komme.
Is from the verb
Kommen.
to come.
Kommen.
Next is
Aus.
meaning from in this context.
Aus. Aus.
Last is the city,
New York.
New York.
New York. New York.
Altogether,
Ich komme aus New York.
this literally means I come from New York, but it translates as I'm from New York.
Ich komme aus New York.
The pattern is
Ich komme aus Location.
I'm from location.
Ich komme aus Location.
To use this pattern, you can simply replace the location placeholder with the name of your hometown. Note, this pattern requires a proper noun and works with the names of cities, villages, towns, and countries. Imagine you're from Sydney. In German,
Sydney. Sydney. Sydney.
say, I'm from Sydney. Ready?
Ich komme aus Sydney.
I'm from Sydney.
Ich komme aus Sydney.
Note on German language formality. Mark and Marvin are using informal language in this conversation. So Marvin asks,
Woher kommst du?
"Where are you from?" To make the question formal, replace
Kommst du?
with the
Kommen Sie?
therefore in a formal setting.
Woher kommen Sie?
Where are you from?
Woher kommen Sie?
Please be aware of this, as you will see it again later in the lesson. Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
Ich komme aus New York. Ich komme aus New York.
Ich komme aus Kiel und du? Ich komme aus Kiel und du?
Ich komme aus Seattle. Ich komme aus Seattle.
Ich komme aus London. Und Sie? Ich komme aus London. Und Sie?
Ich komme aus Deutschland. Ich komme aus Deutschland.
Ich bin Australierin. Ich bin Australierin.
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
Ich bin Australierin.
I'm Australian.
Ich bin Australierin.
First is
Ich.
I.
Ich.
Next is
Bin.
am, as in I am.
Bin. Bin. Bin.
Is from the verb
Sein.
meaning to be.
Sein.
Together it's
Ich bin.
I am.
Ich bin.
After this is
Australierin.
meaning Australian.
Australierin. Australierin.
Note
Australierin.
is feminine, as the speaker is female. This pattern is
Ich bin Nationality.
I'm nationality. To use this pattern, simply replace the nationality placeholder with your nationality. Note, this pattern requires a noun, and its gender will depend on the gender of the speaker. Mia Martin uses a feminine noun
Australierin.
to identify herself.
Ich bin Australierin.
A male speaker from Australia would use the masculine noun
Australier. Ich bin Australier.
I'm Australian.
Ich bin Australier.
You can use this pattern to answer the question.
Woher kommst du?
You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Welcome to Can Do German by GermanPod101.com.
Hallo zusammen, ich bin Katrin Preußler. Hi everyone, I'm Katrin Preußler. In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about your occupation in German.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Germany. He asks the passenger sitting next to him, Marvin Moss, "Are you a student?"
Bist du Student?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Marvin's response. Note, the speakers in this conversation use informal German. Ready?
Bist du Student?
Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor.
Once more with the English translation.
Bist du Student?
Are you a student?
Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor.
No, I'm not a student. I'm an investor.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Mark asks, "Are you a student?"
Bist du Student?
First is
Bist.
are when using informal German.
Bist. Bist. Bist.
Is from the verb
Sein.
meaning to be.
Sein.
Next is the informal personal pronoun
Du.
you.
Du. Du.
Next is
Student.
student.
Student. Student.
In German, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Student.
Is masculine singular. Altogether,
Bist du Student?
are you a student?
Bist du Student?
Note,
Bist du Student?
is the informal form of are you a student? To make the question formal, replace
Bist du?
with
Sind Sie?
which is the formal way of asking are you? Therefore, in a formal setting,
Sind Sie Student?
are you a student?
Sind Sie Student?
You should be aware of this, but you won't need it for this lesson.
Now, let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Marvin says, "No, I'm not a student. I'm an investor."
Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor.
First is the expression,
Nein.
meaning no.
Nein. Nein.
It answers Mark's yes or no question. Are you a student?
Bist du Student?
After this, Marvin specifies that he's not a student.
Ich bin kein Student.
I'm not a student.
Ich bin kein Student.
Let's start with the word
Student.
student.
Student. Student.
In German, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Student.
Is masculine and singular, a fact which will determine the form of other words in the sentence. Before
Student.
is
Kein.
a phrase meaning not a in this case.
Kein. Kein. Kein.
Is masculine and singular to agree with.
Student.
Together, it's
Kein Student.
literally not a student.
Kein Student.
Let's move to the start of the sentence.
Ich.
I.
Ich. Ich.
Next is
Bin.
am.
Bin. Bin. Bin.
Is from the verb
Sein.
meaning to be.
Sein.
Altogether,
Ich bin kein Student.
I'm not a student.
Ich bin kein Student.
Marvin then tells Mark his actual occupation.
Ich bin Investor.
I'm an investor.
Ich bin Investor.
First,
Ich.
I.
Ich.
Next is
Bin.
am.
Bin.
Next is
Investor.
investor.
Investor. Investor. Investor.
Is a masculine singular noun. Together,
Ich bin Investor.
literally, I am investor. But it translates as I'm an investor.
Ich bin Investor.
Altogether,
Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor.
no, I'm not a student. I'm an investor.
Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor.
The pattern is
Nein, ich bin kein Occupation. Ich bin Actual Occupation.
no, I'm not occupation. I'm actual occupation.
Nein, ich bin kein Occupation. Ich bin Actual Occupation.
To use this pattern, simply replace the occupation and actual occupation placeholders with the occupations that are appropriate to the conversation. Note This pattern requires nouns. Their gender will depend on the gender of the speaker. Imagine you're Emma Eckert, a student. The word for a female student is
Studentin. Studentin. Studentin.
Marvin Moss asks you if you're a teacher.
Lehrerin. 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 Lehrerin.
Is feminine singular. Therefore,
Keine.
is feminine singular to agree with.
Lehrerin.
Together,
Keine Lehrerin.
not a teacher.
Keine Lehrerin.
Say, no, I'm not a teacher. I'm a student. Ready?
Nein, ich bin keine Lehrerin. Ich bin Studentin.
No, I'm not a teacher. I'm a student.
Nein, ich bin keine Lehrerin. Ich bin Studentin.
In German, a general rule of thumb is occupation words that end in
In.
are feminine, while those that do not are masculine.
Lehrer. Lehrerin.
If the masculine form contains the word
Mann.
meaning man, it's usually replaced with the word
Frau.
meaning woman.
Bürokaufmann.
Office clerk, male.
Bürokauffrau.
Office clerk, female. However, some occupations may have two different words for one occupation depending on gender.
Krankenpfleger.
Nurse, male.
Krankenschwester.
Nurse, female. Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor. Nein, ich bin kein Student. Ich bin Investor.
Nein, ich bin keine Lehrerin. Ich bin Studentin. Nein, ich bin keine Lehrerin. Ich bin Studentin.
Nein, ich bin kein Lehrer. Ich bin Ingenieur. Nein, ich bin kein Lehrer. Ich bin Ingenieur.
Nein, ich bin keine Krankenschwester. Ich bin Ärztin. Nein, ich bin keine Krankenschwester. Ich bin Ärztin.
Ich bin keine Studentin. Ich bin Lehrerin. Ich bin keine Studentin. Ich bin Lehrerin.
Nein, ich bin Barista. Nein, ich bin Barista.
Did you notice how the last speaker omits part of the response?
Nein, ich bin Barista.
No, I'm a barista.
Nein, ich bin Barista.
When directly responding to someone's question, it's often possible to omit part of the response. Here, by simply answering
Nein,
no, there's no need to say,
ich bin keine Studentin.
I'm not a student. This pattern is
Nein, ich bin actual occupation.
no, I'm actual occupation. Remember this pattern. You'll need it for the practice section. Welcome to Can Do German by GermanPod101.com.
Hallo zusammen, ich heiße Katrin Preußler. Hi everyone, I'm Katrin Preußler. In this lesson, you will learn how to give your phone number.
This is Mark Lee, and he's at City Hall registering his address. The civil servant who is helping him says, "Your phone number, please."
Ihre Telefonnummer bitte.
Listen to the conversation and focus on the response. Note, The civil servant in this conversation uses formal German. Ready?
Ihre Telefonnummer bitte.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0176 192 83746.
Once more with the English translation.
Ihre Telefonnummer bitte.
Your phone number, please.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0176 192 83746.
My phone number is 0176 1928 3746.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how the civil servant says, "Your phone number, please"?
Ihre Telefonnummer bitte.
Let's start with
Telefonnummer.
phone number.
Telefonnummer.
Note: in German, words can sometimes be joined together to create a new word.
Telefonnummer.
Is
Telefon.
phone and
Nummer.
number together. Together it's
Telefonnummer.
phone number.
Telefonnummer.
In German, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Telefonnummer.
Is feminine and singular, a fact that determines the form of other words in the sentence. Before
Telefonnummer.
is
Ihre.
a formal way to say your.
Ihre. Ihre.
Note:
Ihre.
fundamentally means their, but it's also a formal way to say your when speaking to someone directly using formal German.
Ihre. Ihre. Ihre.
Is feminine singular to agree with.
Telefonnummer.
Together it's
Ihre Telefonnummer.
a formal way to say your phone number.
Ihre Telefonnummer.
Last is
Bitte.
meaning please.
Bitte. Bitte.
Altogether it's
Ihre Telefonnummer, bitte.
your phone number, please.
Ihre Telefonnummer bitte.
Remember this request. You'll hear it again later.
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark says, "My phone number is 0176 1928 3746.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0176 192 83746.
Do you remember how to say phone number?
Telefonnummer.
Phone number.
Telefonnummer.
Before this is
Meine.
my.
Meine.
In this sentence,
Meine.
is feminine singular to agree with.
Telefonnummer.
Together it's
Meine Telefonnummer.
my phone number.
Meine Telefonnummer.
Next is
Ist.
as in my phone number is.
Ist. Ist. Ist.
Is from the verb
Sein.
to be.
Sein.
Together it's
Meine Telefonnummer ist.
my phone number is.
Meine Telefonnummer ist
Next is Mark's phone number.
0176192837446. 0176 192837446.
Note how Mark says his phone number. When giving your phone number in German, say each digit separately. After the group of the first four numbers, include a short pause in place of the space. For example,
0176 19283746.
altogether it's
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0176 19283746.
my phone number is 0176 19283746.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0176 192 83746.
The pattern is
Meine Telefonnummer ist Number.
my phone number is number.
Meine Telefonnummer ist Number.
To use this pattern, simply replace the number placeholder with your phone number. Note, this pattern requires a sequence of digits. Each should be said separately. Imagine your phone number is
0175 12 34 56 78. 0175 12 34 56 78.
Say, my phone number is 0175 12345678. Ready?
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0175 12 34 5 6 7 8.
My phone number is 0175 12345678.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0175 12 34 5 6 7 8.
In this lesson, the phone numbers are given digit by digit. In Germany, however, it's also common to contract the digits. For example, Bentley's number could also be read as follows: 0176 13 43 13 13. However, as a beginner, the easiest way to say your phone number is digit by digit, as in the dialogue.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0176 192 83746.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0175 12 34 5 6 7 8.
Meine Handynummer ist 01575 1425 364.
Meine Telefonnummer ist 0150 987 61234.
0170 34 12 56 87. Did you notice how I omitted meine Telefonnummer ist? (0170 34 12 56 87).
0170 3412 5687. When directly responding to a request, it's often possible to omit part of the response. Here, by simply giving your phone number, there's no need to say,
Meine Telefonnummer ist.
my phone number is. The pattern is,
Nummer.
you should be aware of this shortcut. But for this lesson, we'll use the pattern,
Meine Telefonnummer ist Number.
my phone number is number.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.